Evening guys, so this evening we're going to be making cauliflower cheese. It's one, I put the recipe up for it yesterday I believe. It's a really straightforward recipe. Some really simple ingredients. All we're going to need is our cauliflower, obviously, some chives, some double cream, salt and pepper, and some cheddar, and that's it. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to need to cut this cauliflower back. Now in the recipe I had a 900 gram cauliflower. It was huge. However, I'm pretty sure this one's going to be a bit smaller, so we'll weigh it up and see how big it is. Let's have a look. Ah, 925. Maybe I weighed it without all the leaves on it last time. No bother. Okay, so for this we're going to need a paring knife. One of these, the smaller knife. I was going to use this one, but I'm just going to use a paring knife. And what I want to do is we want to cut around the base of the cauliflower here, at the base of the stalks, and we want to preserve as much of that midrib as possible, because we're going to be using that later on. So with your paring knife, just cut at the base here, like so. That's why I didn't use that knife, it's blunt. And we're going to peel those away and pop those over to one side to use later. Just cut them off, watch your fingers, obviously. This is a really quick one to prepare. Not very labour intensive at all, and it serves 6 people, so you can easily throw it together and be ready in no time to feed the kids or what. Or put the rest in the fridge and keeps well in the fridge. Okay, so there we have it. There's your cauliflower. And as you can see, after all the leaves, you don't actually get that much. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to cut off the bottom bit, because this we don't really want. So get rid of that. Boom. And there we have it. So what we're going to need is a oven-proof dish, Pyrex or something like that will do. I'm going to use this slightly smaller one because this is a slightly smaller cauliflower, so cauliflower bigger dish. Okay, so what we want to do here is just want to peel off these florets. Being careful not to break them up too much, because otherwise you're just going to have loads of little bits in your cauliflower cheese, and nobody wants that. You just want some nice chunky bits. So let's get into it. So all you need to do is just cut it through the middle and into quarters like that, and then we can start peeling back the florets and putting it in our pot here. Boom, in the quarters. And now you can see, if you look here, you can see the florets are joined here, and all we need to do is get our paring knife and just pop them out. Real simple. Boom. There we go, and they just come off just like that. So right, let's work our way down through these, peeling them off. I mean, if you like, you can just put big old bits in there, or small bits, up to you. I like them a little bit chunky, because it just, it's got a bit more bite to it. Let's cut out that core, pop it in. So now, you can see how it's going to spread along the bottom. Now, although I've put them in here like this is just to kind of get a gauge of how it's going to fit into the dish here. But we're going to actually need to steam them for 3 or 4 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, just to kind of soften them up a little bit, because the oven bake's not going to be enough to cook them through. And we don't want rock hard cauliflower, but we do want it to have a little bit of a bite to it, because otherwise it's going to be all mush and nobody's going to really like that. So, okay, so let's go and get the steamer. Right then, so we've got the steamer all set up. Got some boiling water pots in the bottom there ready to go. We're just going to stick the florets in there, and then we can start prepping the rest of the stuff. So pop them in there, and we don't want to chuck them around too much because they'll fall apart and then you're just going to end up with like cauliflower rice. And that's a different dish, which I've not mastered yet actually, so that's going to be at some point. So there we go, we'll pop all that in. Lovely jubbly. Put that to one side. Get them cooking up. Like I said, by the time we finish the next bit, the florets will be ready to go back in the pot there. There we go, let's get that simmering on. Put the lid on. Boom. Right, so what's that's doing, what we're going to do is we're going to prepare the leaves. So you want to get some fairly sizable ones. And what we're going to do with these is, let's get what I can show you. So we don't really want this leafy bit. What we're after is this spine, it's called the midrib, and we're going to take that out and we're going to saute this in some salt and pepper on the old skillet, and this is going to be a really yummy decoration that's going to sit on the top of the old cauliflower cheese. So with a paring knife, you just going to score down the side of the midrib like that. Pop, pop. Now when it's done, it's going to kind of resemble kind of a bit of asparagus, almost. So what you want to do is go through these leaves and pick out the best ones. I would say maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them. Some nice big fat chunky ones. Obviously try to avoid the ones that are starting to brown on there and stuff, because that's just not going to look nice on the plate. So how many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. We'll go with 6. That one's a bit rubbish. We'll do better than that. Okay. Boom. Watching your fingers. There we go. 1. Real simple. Now you'd be surprised. I didn't think that this would work, and then after I'd had a chew on a bit the other day, I was just chewing them as I was cooking, and it just turns out they're quite nice. So I thought, what a waste then, I can just throw them in the pot and see what happens. There we go. Okay, let's get off just chop off anything that's kind of gone a bit, you know how sometimes at the ends they go a little bit grubby where they've been sat on the shelf and everything, so just want to pop those off because that's not going to taste so great. Leave a bit of room on there if you like, a bit of leaf on there, it's up to you. It will taste good, but for the effect I'm going for, I want to kind of take them right back to the leaf. So I'm going to pop those to one side, and now we're going to, let me empty that out. Now these are not going to take too long at all to saute. You want them to have a nice crunch to them, but still be kind of cooked on the outside, so they've kind of got this nice salty, peppery crunch to them. It's going to taste really great. Trust me on this one. So yeah, we'll pop those to one side, and we'll get on with the sauce. So the cheese sauce. So pop that to one side. So the cheese sauce, what we're going to be needing. Let me just try to test this. Be careful with this; it's going to be banging hot. Okay. So what we're going to need here is we're going to need some double cream. Don't be scared of double cream. I know it's very, very high in fat. But remember that anything you put into this, you're going to be divided by 6 anyway, because it's a 6-person dish. Also, it's extremely low in carbs, and the higher fat stuff, or the natural stuff that hasn't got reduced fat, that's usually got less carbs in it, and the carbs won't get you. It's not so much the fat, it's the carbs that get you. So That's the whole keto thing and everything. Kaz put up a book about this the other day, actually, which I linked. It's all about keto dieting and everything. So, and also the book that I put up when I started the group as well. Anyway, I'm waffling on, so let's get to it. Give it a quick shake. And we're just going to whack the whole thing in. So that's about 300 millilitres there. Well, it is 300 millilitres. Throw that in there, put that to one side out of the way. Crack of salt, crack of pepper. Nice. Now this is what's going to give it a real lovely savouring. The salt and the pepper is really what makes this. You don't have to use real fancy cheese. I mean, this is like your basic mature cheddar from Asda, so it's nothing special, you know. Now what we want to do is we want to heat this, but we don't want to go mad with it, because as with milk, if this scorches, it's gonna flavour the whole dish. Yeah, it's not going to be great. So we want to get it going, and then once we've got it going, we want to kind of back off on the heat a little bit, and just kind of keep it hot, because all we really need to do is melt this cheese into it, and that's it. We don't need to boil it. We don't need to do anything like that. Now, I like to use these little latte spoons. Oh, hang on, what are we doing there? Oh, I smell great. I just smell of cauliflower. Ow. Ow, don't do that, it's hot. Hang on, I'll have a cup of tea. It's too cold on my nerves. Oh, it's pretty damn hot. Okay, anyway, whoop, I've lost it now, haven't I? God. Right, so, keep it moving. You don't want it to catch on the sides. With this pot, I tend to find that it kind of simmers at the sides first, which is a bit of a pain. Don't worry. Oh, that was some more heat. Is that all we got? Okay. So I'm going to keep this going. And whilst this is doing, I'm just going to get my skillet out, ready to go. I'm going to hit that with just a touch of extra virgin olive oil. Again, you know, we don't want to go nuts, we're only sauteing it, so how are we doing in here? I think this time it's like I get a spoon in there instead of my fingers. Here we go. Okay, so it's starting to kind of go, on the side of the cauliflower it's going to start going translucent, and once it starts going translucent you can start seeing through it just a little bit. That's really when you want to put it, because the oven's going to do the rest of the work for you. Okay, and also you want to keep having that nice little bite to it as well. Keep that going. Look at that. Now what we're going to do is this. We're going to keep on flavouring this as we go along to kind of get the flavour we want. Oh, look, I'm going to hit it with a bit more salt. Throw in some more pepper. Here we go. And then start to back off the heat now. We've started to simmer on the side, so that's it. Remember, we only need to get it hot enough to melt that cheese. So, oh, that's lovely. I'm going to throw some chives in there. 2 tablespoons, something like that. Give or take, up to you. I quite like my chives. I find that you can use onions or shallots, but I find that chives got a much more delicate flavour to it. And you know, you don't want a crazy onion flavour, you just want a kind of delicate. Let's pull that off the heat a minute, it's not pretty damn hot. Okay, so let's have a look. Also, those chives just, honestly, Most chives just make it. With your salt and the pepper. Oh my goodness. A bit more pepper. Quite into my pepper. Now that's already kind of simmered around the sides and it's kind of fluffed up and gone back down again. So what we're going to do is turn that off now. So we turn the cauliflower off. I'm not going to take it off the steam. I'm just going to leave it there to just sit there now and just to just fall through. So now with the cheese, we're going to use 75% of the cheese in the sauce, and the other 25% we're going to whack over the cauliflower cheese when it's finished to give you that nice kind of caramelised brown cheesiness over the top, you know, like cheese on toast style. Whoop, let's turn that off. So the important thing here is not to bang all the cheese in one go. That's going to increase the likelihood that it's going to split. So what we want to do is, whilst we're stirring the cream, we're just going to be sprinkling this cheese in, yeah, and then you'll see it, as you're doing it, start to kind of melt into the mix, you know. You can see this is steaming hot, but I've not got it over the heat. It doesn't really need any more heat. This is such an easy dish to do. So I'm going to whack some beautiful sirloin steaks that I picked up the other day with this as well. And the steak accompanies it so well, it complements this so well. It's just, it really is a match made in heaven. And once we've done this, I'll show you how to do the steak as well. I like mine rare. If you have to chase it around the plate, that's all good for me. Oh, that's so good. Right guys, so all we got to do now is start putting it together. So right, let's do that. Get the old oven dish here. Now, be careful of these bad boys, as you've already seen, because I've already put myself. They're going to be crazy hot. Okay, so grab a spoon like this and just pick them out. We already know they're going to fit in there because we've already had them in there once. So, oh, it's going to be good. Be careful with them because they're going to be a bit more delicate now because obviously they've kind of cooked up a little bit. Okay, so that's the last of them in. That's all good. So with the sauce here, don't let it go too cold because cream being cream, especially double cream, it will set on you. If it starts to set, that's cool. We'll just hit it with a little bit more heat just to kind of loosen it up a little bit. So we're just going to do that. Just to kind of, wrong burner. Yeah, just hit it with a little bit of heat and that'll loosen it up for us. All good. I'm just going to taste some more. Oh man, that's so good. Oh. Honestly. There we go, all loosened up again. Grab our cauliflower and we're just going to spin on over. This is going to be the business. Try and get a nice covering. Don't worry if it's not pooling at the bottom, if you've not got enough, that's cool. I don't think you really need to have it pooling in the bottom. Personally, I don't, doesn't really bother me. If you do like it that way, then just make more sauce. Oh, honestly. I'm not going to be able to eat this because I would have eaten my calorie allowance for the day just in the recipe. Okay, so we're not going to use this cheese yet. What we are going to do is I'm just going to throw this in the oven, which I've been preheating at about 180 degrees, just to kind of continue cooking this through. And then what I'll do at the end once I've sautéed the midribs here and whacked them on, put the cheese on top, just hit it with the grill for 2 or 3 minutes just to brown up that nice cheese on the top. Bit of salt, bit of pepper, bang, you're ready to go. So I'll just throw this in the oven quick. Usual place, just in the middle of the oven, you know. So then, let's get this going on. Now when you're sautéing, we're just splashing it with heat, we're just hitting it with an intense heat. So you want to get this skillet banging hot, you know. Oh, that's good. Get it really hot, a little bit of olive oil, extra virgin. Hit the pan with a bit of pepper, bit of salt, or let's say get that oil flowing all the way around the pan. There we go. Oh, you can already smell the pan, the salt, the olive oil and everything. It's just, even without anything in it, it's already smelling great. I'm on fire a little bit down there. There we go. So then we're going to whack these in. Oh, let's get it a bit hot first. There we go. Get this oil really fluid. Throw these bad boys in. Bosh. Watch the gotta watch the cauliflower. We don't want to overdo it. And what you're going to get is that these midribs are going to pick up all the salt and the pepper and get all covered in it. And anything else you've had in the pan, you know what I mean? It's going to be great. Doing this kind of thing with hard greens like this, like with your asparagus or your, you know, whatever, midribs like this, it's just really lovely. A really good accompaniment to any dish. Really lovely. There you go. It's a nice little hint there. So when you're doing your salt and your pepper, or any spices really, or herbs, you'll often see you watching the watching the old MasterChef or Gordon Ramsay or whatever, and they're all hitting it from heights, and that's because you get a really nice spread. So you know, you'll be hitting it from up here, and you know, the pepper goes all over the food instead of just in one concentrated area. There you go. Okay, so once I've finished with these, you can start to see they're starting to get pretty bendy. Like I said, you don't want them to go too bendy, because you don't want to go too soft, because you want that crunch. But what I'm going to do once I've done this is I'm going to keep this pan. I'm not going to wash it out, because I'm going to use this to hit the steaks in a minute. And then the pan's like, what? There we go. As I was saying, I warned you, fire alarm was going to go off. So these have gone. These are perfect. I mean, we've got this lovely charring going on here. You know, it's just. Oh, You can see this beautiful charring that we've got going on just there, and that's all going to be goodness right there. And it's going to look great on top of the cauliflower. There we go. So get yourself a tea towel or some paper towels. And what we're going to do is just drop these onto the paper towel here, and that's going to allow any excess oil and stuff to kind of fall off them. Gosh, there we go, beautiful. Right then, let's pop this to one side. And it's already started to take on this lovely browning. So what we're going to do is just come in there and just make sure, you know, rebaste any bits of cauliflower where the stuff's come off of them. Oh yeah, There we go. Then we're going to get our midribs here and just place them on crisscross, you know, up to you, get artistic. I like to just kind of make them all over the shop really, just to kind of give a little bit of interesting look to it. There we go. Grab the leftover cheese, sprinkle that over the top. Oh, there you go. Beautiful. Stick this back under and then we can crack on with the steaks. I like sirloin steak, also like rump steak, but sirloin tends to be really nice and lean. I've got two really lovely bits here. This bit's quite marbled, this bit's very, very lean. Also, if you use the sirloin, I find with the ribeye you get this really big vein of fat that runs through the middle of it, whereas the sirloin's pretty clean, it's nice and marbled. Now, personally, for me, I'm a purist when it comes to steak. I don't like putting peppercorn sauce on it or cream sauce or anything like that. As far as I'm concerned, all that a good steak needs is salt and pepper, and just let the steak do the rest of the work for you. So what we're going to do is just hit it with some salt, push, 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 both sides. That's it, push. There you go. Same with the pepper. Just going to get yourself a lovely crust on there. There you go, both sides. Bash, bash. Whoa, I love it. I love it. They're going to be so good. Now, I like my steak rare. I know other people like it a bit well done and everything like that, but personally, if you have it nice and rare, that's when all the flavour and all the juice comes out from your steak, and it's just going to be so nice and juicy. So I'm going to cook them rare for you today. Let me just turn the oven off before I burn my cauliflower. That's it, that's all done. So, there you go, I'll give you a little demo. Look at them, they're beautiful. So we're going to get our skillet out. So we've not cleaned this from when we were doing the midribs. So we're just going to get it going again. I'm not going to have to add any additional oil to it because it's already seasoned from when we were doing the other bit, the midribs. So I'm just going to get it going nice and hot. Grab our tongs, because we're not going to want to be touching that when it gets hot. We want to get this lovely and hot. This is one of my favourite things in the world to cook. It's such a tasty, easy thing to do. Okay, so this is getting lovely and hot. And what we're going to do by getting it crazy hot is we're going to get those lovely sirloins that you get when you go to the restaurant in your steak. Let's have a look, see where we are. And you'll know it's ready, you can hear that hiss actually firming. Now the trick is, once you get them in the pan, you don't want to touch them again until you're going to flip them. Okay? You don't want to move them around, you don't want to slide them around. The pan's nice and seasoned already, so they're not going to stick. And also the steak's going to generate its own fat as well, which is kind of just going to keep it loose. Already you can smell that intense kind of steaky smell coming from it. You know it's going to be so good. So you're going to see the steak cook up the sides, and it's going to be, for a rare steak, obviously depending on how thick it is, it's going to be about a minute on each side, but judge it as it comes up the sides. So I generally use, once the cook has come halfway up the steak, it's usually time to flip it over. So just have a little sneaky peek underneath as you're doing it. Make sure your grill lines are on there. Your skillet lines are on there. So you kind of start to learn it by touch as well, how that's going to be inside, yeah? So I think we might be good on that side now. Flip it over, boom, oh look at that, already. If you're not getting the lines, grab yourself a spatula, that will go onto hand, just give it a little press onto the skillet, just burn in those lines, all nice. There it is. Look at that. Don't know if you can see that. These beautiful lines just come out of the skillet. That's an amazing smell just coming from it. That's so good. So this is by far the best way that I've found to do steaks. Otherwise you just end up with this kind of dry piece of meat. Now, as these are going to be rare, you might get it so you're getting a bit of pink in the sides, and that's absolutely fine. I mean, steak is one of those things that you can have red, but what I tend to do is just stick it on the side like that, just tip it up, just to seal in those sides, seal all that yummy juice. If you've got a little bit of fat on the side, like I have with this one, just going to stick it on, stick it at the side there, just render it down a bit, flip this over. Oh, you're all good, mate. You're all good. Maybe they can smell the steak. That's it. We're done. We are done. Skew it on. Got a 30-second job. What you want to do is you just want to sit them out whilst we're preparing the rest of the dish. And they'll just sit there. All nice. Right guys, on the home stretch, just plating up now. So our steak's just going to sit in there whilst we prepare the cauliflower. Just grab that out. And this is taking on a little life of its own, a little life of wonder. Just remember, this is going to be insanely hot, but it's important to get on the plate and going, because your steak here, that's going to cool down pretty fast. If you are a little bit behind, then when you put your steak to rest, just throw a tea towel over the top of it, and it will keep it, that will keep it warmer. So right, let's get this on there. So we've got a little bit of cauliflower cheese going on there. Stick that in here. Oh yeah, it's going to be good. Skidoosh. Beautiful. There we go. Get it on there nicely if you can. Get some of that caramelisation sitting on the top if you can, just to kind of show it off, And remember, well presented food just tastes even better. It just adds to the flavour. And we're going to get our little mid ribs here. Actually, what we'll do is I'll hit this with the old steaks first. Find the best side, throw it on there, make it look fancy. One, oh, that's a good side there. Two, okay, and then we can get our mid ribs, kind of lay them over like that. There we go. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Like that. There we go. Make it look all fancy, all nice and beautiful. Do something a bit weird on there if you want, And then what we're going to do, get a bit of tea towel, get a bit of a thingy here, and we're just going to have a little clean up. I know it sounds silly, it's just a little bit on the side or this, that and the other, but these are the bits. This is where your plating comes up, and this is what kind of takes your dish from, just a dish on a plate, to something that's really epic and something that you find yourself in a restaurant, And that's it, guys. We've got our steak, cauliflower cheese. As always, I've waffled on a little bit, so it's taking a bit longer. but that's going to be amazing. Good to go. You've got this beautiful lean steak. It's really lovely, crunchy cauliflower cheese with our little mid-ribs on there. Honestly, it's going to be brilliant. In fact, let's have a look. Yeah, this cauliflower is perfect. Oh, it's so good. The cauliflower it's just perfect. It melts in your mouth. And you just get this beautiful hit of this lovely creamy cheese underneath it. Your chives running through it. You're going to have that beautiful steak to accompany it. It's going to be brilliant. Holy hell, that's good. Right guys, so that's it. I'm going to go and eat this because it looks amazing. And the wife's hankering for some food. So let me know what you think. Give it a go yourself. Send some pictures. As always, hit subscribe, notify, and then you can see any new recipes that I come up with. So yeah, let me know what you think. Cool. Thanks very much, guys. See you later.